I am Rabbi Nathan Davidovich, speaking to you on behalf of the webyeshiva.org, speaking to you from Efrat, Israel. I'm going to be speaking about this week's Torah reading. This week's Parsha is Tetzaveh, which talk about many of the things that are necessary for the service in the Tabernacle and ultimately in the Holy Temple. I'm going to focus on the commandment of making clothes for the Kohanim, for the priests who do their job in the Tabernacle and ultimately in the Holy Temple. And I'm going to show how this connects to this specific Shabbat, which is Shabbat Zachor, the time we're right before Purim, where we're commanded to remember what Amalek did to the Jewish people. And the Torah in Parsha Tetzaveh says, Yosisa bigdei kodesh, v'haron achicha lechavarol sifaras. You shall make holy garments for Aaron, for the Kohanim, for the high priest. Aaron was the Kohen Gadol, the high priest, and for him and all the other Kohanim. Lechavarol sifaras, for kavod, for honor, meaning to come close to God. Sifaros, and majesty, royalty, royal garments. And the Malbim, one of the commentators, says on this, it seems that the garments that God is commanding Moshe to make are outer garments. And he's telling them how to make these outer garments. And there's a list of a number of different garments that are worn. Pants and hats and shirts and different things that are worn by the Kohanim. So it sounds like they're making outer garments, how the craftsmen should make them in their work. But the Malbim says they really indicate the inner clothes that the Kohanim, who are the priests of God, should make. What are the inner clothes? What are the clothing of the souls? The clothing of the souls are the thoughts and the abilities and the tendencies to do what is right, to do what God wants. The performance of Torah and mitzvos, those are the clothes of the soul. And it wasn't the craftsmen who made those. Those were made by teaching, by Moses teaching how to refine the souls of the Jewish people, and in such a way they will wear their majesty and splendor upon the eternal souls. We also know that a person is not considered a Talmid Chacham unless his outer reflects his inner. In other words, it's not enough to have just good thoughts inwardly. You want to do the mitzvahs. You have to demonstrate them by your outer clothing. Now, what does that have to do with all the people of Israel? The commandment is made to the priests. Well, it says in Parsha Yitro, it says, "Va'atem tiyu li b'amleches kohanim v'goy kadosh." You, all of Israel, will be a kingdom of priests and a holy nation. These are the things you should speak to Bnei Israel. All of Israel are, in a sense, Kohanim. What was the job of the Kohanim? The job of the Kohanim was to teach Torah and mitzvot. And the Sforno commentator says, what this means, that you shall be a kingdom of priests, is that you shall teach all of humankind to call on God, and that God is responsible for everything. And we see from these little comments that the clothing of the neshama, the clothing of the soul, is done by the light of Torah study and observance of the commandments. As I said, this Shabbat is also a special Shabbat before Purim, called Parsha Zachor. And in this Torah reading, special Torah reading, the second Sefer Torah, we read about how the wicked Amalek attacked the children of Israel just before they came to Har Sinai, just before they came to Mount Sinai to receive the Torah. And the sentence leading up to the story of Amalek tells it all. It tells us what the problem is. It says, Vayikra Shema Makom Masu Mariva. They called the name of the place that they were at a place of strife. Nisosim Hashem Lemor, because they tested God by saying, Hayesh Hashem B'kirbeinu Im Ayin, is God in our midst or not? And then it said, Vayavo Amalek V'ilachim Yisrael B'Refidim. Amalek came and fought with Bnei Israel, with the children of Israel, on the place called Refidim. The sages interpret the word Refidim into two words, Rafa Yodayim. Their hands were weak. What does that mean, their hands were weak? It means they were weak in the observance of the mitzvot, of the commandments. They were weak in understanding the emunah, the faith that is necessary for a Jew. They didn't have the proper clothing of the soul. They didn't have the begodim that they needed to receive the Torah. They were asking, is God in our midst or not? And when we ask those questions, that's when Amalek, that's when the wicked Amalek, or Haman, or Hamas, can get to us. When we have strife amongst ourselves, we're fighting amongst ourselves, not have unity. Unity is one of the basic commandments of the Torah. We say to God, Barcheinu Avinu, Kulanu Ke'echad, bless us, our Father, all as one. As one. When we are one people, united, that's the blessing we get. When we wear the clothes of unity and the clothes of Torah and mitzvot, that will bring us to unity. When we no longer ask the question, is God amongst us or not? The job of Amalek, the Hebrew word Amalek has a numerical value equal to the Hebrew word safek, doubt. The job of Amalek is to create doubt. Not necessarily even before we do a commandment, but after we fulfill a commandment, it creates doubt. What are you doing? You're not worthy of doing this. You haven't done such a great thing. You're not going to be able to do it again. Look who you are. The Torah wants us to always raise ourselves up to serve God, not to fall prey to the Hamans, the Hamas, the Amaleks of this world. And to do that, we can only do it by having the clothing of our soul reflect the true holiness of the Jew, who will be a teacher and bring light to the entire world. Therefore, we should all remember to be a kingdom of priests and wear our holy garments of Torah and spread the light of Torah and of mitzvahs throughout the world. Thank you for listening on behalf of the webyeshiva.org. I wish everybody a wonderful Shabbat. Next week, Thursday night, I will not be giving the shir because Purim begins next Thursday night. So I wish everybody a happy Purim, true simcha, true joy. True joy only comes from emunah in God. Belief and trust in God, that is the true joy in this world. So I wish everybody a Purim of true joy, true simcha, true emunah. Shabbat Shalom.